Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Josh Hunsaker. I'm the Customer Solutions Trainer here at BidSync, and today I'm here to walk you through parts of the source tool so that you're able to get a better understanding of what that tool is. Just to give you a little bit of background on BidSync, BidSync is a provider of electronic procurement. We've been in the industry since 1999 and have over 1,000 government clients as well as 800,000 vendors in our database. BidSync has been supplying electronic procurement to large and small government agencies across the country, and one of the nice things about BidSync is being able to reach out to that large vendor database. Today what we're going to be talking about in the BidSync system is the BidSync source tool. So that's the tool that allows the City of Detroit to release bids, receive offers on those bids, and then make an award decision based off of the offers that they've received. During the training today, if there are any questions, this training can easily be paused to address those questions, and if there's any clarifying questions that need to take place afterwards, please feel free to have somebody from the PCG group reach out to me here at BidSync so we can get those questions answered for you as soon as possible. We have several topics to go over during our training today. The first topic is going to be the process for creating a solicitation. The second topic is going to be creating an RFP evaluation and then submitting that RFP evaluation. The next topic is going to be accessing and using the best and final offer tool. And then once we've gone through all of those steps, we're going to take a look at how to develop and issue an award on a bid. So it's going to really take us from beginning to end in the bidding process, so that you're able to see how the system is going to be used and what the steps are for you to be able to go in and test the different items that we have on your list for you. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the bid creation portion. As you can see on your home page right here, this is what you're going to see when you first get logged into BidSync. Once you get logged in and you're ready to start, you'll click on Bids up here in the gray menu bar. From the bids option, you'll go ahead and click Create Bid. And once you've clicked Create Bid, this will take you into a page where you can start building your bid from the ground up, basically. The first thing you're going to choose is your bid type. These are all of the bid types that we have in the system for the City of Detroit. Each bid type will trigger something different in the system, and so make sure you're choosing the correct bid type for your bid. As you go through this, if it's going to be an RFP, make sure it's not going to be an RFP IT, because if it is, you need to make sure that this IT RFP is selected rather than just RFP. For our bid today, we're going to create an office supplies bid, so we're just going to do RFP. And then as we come down just a little bit further, our next option we have here is for our department. We'll go ahead and make sure the correct department is selected, so we're in Public Works, and that's good. If your department is not selected here, you'll need to open up this drop-down menu and make sure you have the correct department selected. Next, we have our budgeted amount. The budgeted amount is an amount that is not shown to suppliers. It's only used for internal purposes for your agency. Basically, this is going to not be shown to the suppliers at all so that your users can know how much they're allowed to spend on this particular bid. For ours, we're just going to put in $10,000 right here. The nice thing about this not being shown to the suppliers is that you can put how much you're actually able to spend on this bid, and the vendors can't see that and say, okay, that's how much money we need to put our offer in for. Just below there, we have our bid response model. The bid response model has three options for you. You have electronic response, paper response, and paper response to electronic tabulation. The difference between these three is that for electronic response, you can send out your bid and the vendors can respond through the BidSync system, so they don't have to send their offer to you by paper. They can still if they'd like to, and you have the option to accept those if you would like, but basically it just allows the vendors to send in an electronic response. Paper response allows the vendors to basically receive your bid through BidSync, but then they'll place their offer by paper by sending it to you directly. And then paper response to electronic tabulation allows the vendors to respond by paper, so they can't respond electronically, but then you have the ability or the option to upload their offers into BidSync to make the award decision that way. For our bid today, we're going to go through the electronic response process. And once we have that selected, we'll click Next Page. On the next page here, this is where we can start setting up the rest of our bid in the system. Because of time, we're just going to go through each of these items rather quickly. But if you do have questions, please keep those until after this section is finished, and we can pause the video for you to ask those questions. Up here at the top, you can see the items that we chose on the previous page. This is an RFP, and we're in the Public Works Department. Down below here, we have a bid participation and a tentative release date. This is optional, so you don't have to put this in. Basically, what it allows you to do is set up a date in here that you'd like to release the bid by, and if your bid has been approved by that time, then the bid will automatically be released at 8 a.m. that day. Just below there, we have our bid duration section. This is how long the bid is going to last. So if we have it set, you can see this is 30 days from the day that we're creating this bid. So once you get in here, it'll be default set to 30 days out, but you can change that by clicking on the calendar icon right here, and then you'll simply just select the day that you'd like this bid to end. So let's just say that we want this bid to end on February 26th, and we can specify the time in any 15-minute increments. So let's say 3 p.m. is when the bid is going to end. Just below there, we have a question and answer duration section. This allows you to specify up until what date and time the vendors are able to ask questions on this bid. You can always answer the questions after that point, but the vendors will not be able to post new questions. So if our end date is February 26th, we may want to make the question and answer end date, let's say we'll do that as February 23rd, so it gives us a few days to make sure we get all the questions answered, and then we'll specify the end time for that as let's do 3 p.m. Our next section on here is our pre-bid conference. In the pre-bid conference tool, you can create a pre-bid conference on your bid just by clicking Add. This will open up a pop-up window for you right here, and we'll expand this just a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. Basically, with the pre-bid conference, you have two options available to you. You have an online conference right here, which basically creates a chat room type environment for you and the vendors to exchange comments back and forth. They can type their questions to you, and you'll type your questions back to them. The way that these online conferences work is you'll specify that you want to create an online conference. You'll select your date and time. So let's choose our date as, let's do February 20th, and we can specify our time as well. We'll say 9 a.m. And then we can specify if this is optional, mandatory, or not applicable as far as attendance goes. On February 20th at 9 a.m., you'll be able to log into your bid, and you'll have a link in the pre-bid conference section that says Start Conference. When you see that and you click that link, the vendors will then have a link on their side that says Join Conference or Join, so they can join into the same chat room as you, and you can then chat responses back and forth to each other. The nice thing about the online conferences that way is that everything is recorded, and you can simply just take that transcript and use it for whatever you'd like to. The other option that you have available to you is to create a conference at a specific location. So you just select the option for at the following location, and you can type in the address as well as any special instructions for accessing the conference. So if they need to use a specific door or a specific parking lot, you can type that information in here. For our bid today, we're just going to do an online conference. Our next section down here is the contract duration section. You have several options in here that we're just going to cruise through really quick. The contract duration allows you to specify how long the contract is going to last, whether it's going to be a one-time purchase or if it's going to be a specified time frame. So you could type in a number and then select days, months, or years, or any of the other options that are in the drop-down list. For ours today, we're going to do a one-time purchase. For the contract renewal, you can choose if this is going to not renew or how many annual renewals there will be for this contract. Then for prices good for, you can specify how long the vendors have to honor their prices after the bid closes. In this case, it's set to 30 days. Down below there, you have your budgeted amount. This is the same amount that we put in on the previous page. Down below here, we can add an estimated amount, which is shown to suppliers. just to give them kind of a ballpark estimate of how much they need to come in with their bids at. For example, if our budgeted amount is $10,000, we might put our estimated amount as $9,000, just to make sure we're staying as far below our budget as we can. The next section below here is the bid information, where you can really start to describe what your bid is for. You have 3 sections in this part: the bid number, bid title, and bid comments. The bid number you can go ahead and just leave blank. As you can see, it's optional. The system will actually create a bid number for you based off of your account for the City of Detroit. The next section is the bid title. The bid title is whatever you'd like it to be. It just has to be 80 characters or less. So whatever you have decided it to be based off of your requisition, that's what your bid title is going to be. We'll go ahead and put in office supplies for our bid title today. And then for our bid comment section, this section is a little bit more detailed than the bid title. You can make this section as long as you'd like to. There's not a character limit. And this is really where you can put really important information for the suppliers, because it's one of the first things that they see. But on the other hand, you don't have to make that section very large at all. So for example, we'll go ahead and just put in our title again right here. Just for the sake of time, we're not going to put a lot of information in there, but feel free to put as much as you'd like to into there. Our next section here is the additional offer fields. The additional offer fields allow you to create a bid and request additional information back from the vendors. So normally when you create a line item on a bid, what it's going to do is it'll provide a space where the vendors can respond either by, they can put in their unit price or their total price, and that's about it. They can put in some notes and attachments, but the additional offer fields allows you to specify additional questions that you'd like to ask the vendors. For example, you could create an additional offer field here for warranty period, if you want to know how long the warranty is going to be on a specific item that you're purchasing, and you can click Add to add that in there. It'll then be added to the appropriate line items to specify, okay, this is how long this warranty is going to last. Down below here we have our line items, so we can go ahead and click on Add Line Item. From here, this Add Line Item wizard right here will allow you to put in a title for your line item. So we'll say that we're buying office chairs. And we can scroll down a little bit further here. We have a product code if we would like to add one in, but it is optional. It's not shown to suppliers. It's just for internal use. And then we have pricing type, where we'll most often select price, which allows the vendors to submit a unit price and total price to us. Negative price will be deducted off of the vendor total amount. Percentage will also be deducted in way of percentage. And no price does not allow them to enter in any price at all. It just allows them to upload attachments and to put in notes. Below here we have our estimated amount, which we're going to leave blank because we already put in an estimated amount on the previous page. Then we have our unit and delivery location. Delivery location is required, so we'll make sure that we go ahead and select the delivery location and put in a quantity right here. So we'll say that we're looking for 50 office chairs. And then our description is also required, but it does not have to be very long, so we're just going to put in office chairs, just similar to how we did on the previous page. Once we've got all that information in there, we can go ahead and click Done at the bottom or Next Item if we have additional items we need to upload. If you have your items organized into a spreadsheet, you can take advantage of the Import tool right here, which just allows you to import all of your line items from a spreadsheet, making it a lot faster to go through the process. Down below here you have your documents library, which is all of the standard documents for the City of Detroit. Any of these documents that need to be included on your bid, you'll simply select the document, and those documents will be included on your bid and required for the vendors to submit them. As we scroll down just a little bit further here, we have our classification section. In the classification section, we can go ahead and just type in a keyword. So, for example, we're doing office supplies, so we can just type in office supplies. And then from there, we don't have to know the code. It just pulls up the appropriate codes right here, and we can select the appropriate ones. For example, we could say office machines, office supplies, general, whatever we really need to. And then we'll click Add Selected, and we can close our window. In the next section down below here, we have our required vendor qualifications. In this section, this is where you're going to require that the vendors submit certain things such as the slavery affidavit, rights to work, human rights affidavit. All of those will be listed right here for you to simply select like this, and you can include those on your bid. In the next section down below here, this is our vendors section where we have the ability here to do public, private, or regional. Basically, public allows anybody to place an offer on this bid. It goes out to everybody that has one or more of the codes selected above in your area. Then we have private, which only allows certain vendors that you specifically invite from the Invite Vendors tool right here to access this bid. And then we have regional, which only allows certain vendors within a certain distance of a zip code to access this bid. For ours, we're going to do public because we want to get the best price possible on here, so we're going to make sure we have public selected and have notify suggested vendors selected. And then as we scroll down a little bit further here, we have our last section, which is our bid contacts. You can add additional contacts right here or remove yourself as a contact after you've added in additional contacts. You can also specify what information is going to be visible for the vendors to access from you. And then once you're ready and your bid is completed, you can click Save Bid. Once you click Save Bid, this actually puts your bid into the held bid section, which we'll take a look at as soon as this loads for us. So now that that's loaded, we can see it's given us a bid number for our bid, and if we click Return to Bid List, our bid shows up right here. So office supplies right here. We can go ahead and select office supplies and click Ready for Approval, and this is what's going to send our bid through the approval process. We'll need to select the appropriate routing code if our bid is grant funded, then we'll need to choose the appropriate section. If not, we'll just choose not grant funded. And then we can type in our password at the bottom and click Ready Bids. This will send our bid through a workflow. If our bid is automatically approved, we'll come back to this page and see that it's ready. Otherwise, it'll say pending approval. Once it has been approved, or if it's automatically approved, we can come back to here and just check the box for release bids, and then click Release Bids. We'll type in our password again, and then click Release Bids. And this will actually send the bid out to the public, so that now our bid is live on the website for vendors to respond to, and we can go ahead and close this section. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask those questions now about the bid creation portion. We'll pause for just a few minutes and then go into our RFP evaluation creation. Thank you. Where we left off, we had just barely released our bid, so it's now live on the site. We can see how much time is left. We haven't received any offers yet. So our bid is now live on the site. The next thing we're going to do is actually create an RFP eval or an RFP evaluation on our bid. Left off, we have our bid now. It's been released and it's live on the site for vendors to respond to. The next thing we're going to take a look at, and the next thing we're going to do, is actually create an RFP evaluation. You can do that making sure you're in the bid section, and then in the submenu you can click on RFP eval. Once you've clicked on the RFP eval tool, this is going to take you to the current evaluations. You can see we don't currently have any evaluations that are in the system. We're actually going to go back to the held evaluations right here. And this takes us to any evaluations that are basically in the process of being created. To start the creation process, what we're going to do is click Create New Evaluation. And this will take us right into the evaluation creation of the tool. Right here you can see this looks a little bit similar to the bid creation page. It's a little simpler and a little bit faster to go through, so it's not going to take us quite as much time. But to start off, you'll go ahead and put in the title. Most often you're going to use the title of your bid or something similar to that, so you could say Evaluation of New Building Construction Project. Just as an example, you can put whatever you'd like to in the title, and then just below there you're going to go ahead and select your closing date. This is the date by which your evaluators need to come into the system and finish their evaluations. So we're going to go ahead and specify for our evaluation date, let's go with the 25th next week. and we'll specify a time as well. So say 1 p.m. That means the evaluators have to be done with their evaluations by February 25th at 1 p.m. Next, we're going to specify a maximum score. The maximum score for this, for example, could be, let's say, 100, just to make it easy with 100%. We're going to say 100 there. And then we can add any notes. These would be any special notes or instructions that you'd like your buyers to have. Again, none of this information is going to be shown to the suppliers. This is just for your internal use. So anything that you'd like the evaluators to have, you can put in the notes section, but it's not required. And then down below here, you also have the option to upload any documents. So whether you're going to upload documents from the bid, they'll still be able to access those documents, so it's not really necessary, but you can upload documents from your bid or any special instructions or evaluation steps that you'd like them to go through. You can upload those here. Once you've added in all of your information, you can click Save at the bottom. This will take you into the page where you can specify your criteria and associate your proposal. Up here at the top, you can see the options that we chose on the previous page. We put in our title, our closing date, our maximum score. We did not put any notes in or upload any attachments. But right here, you can see we have the option to associate a proposal. So if your bid is already closed in the system and you'd like to associate that with this evaluation, you can click Associate Proposal. In this pop-up window, this is only going to display bids that have already closed and are in the To Be Awarded section. So if they've been awarded, they won't show up here. If they haven't closed, they won't show up here. So we're going to select our bid here, the construction of new building. There we go. And that pulls over let's go ahead and use a different one that has a couple more vendors on it. We'll choose this construction of facilities building right here. There we go. So what this does is it pulls the information from this bid over to here, and it even gives us a link that we can quickly and easily access the tabulation for this bid, just to make it easier on the evaluators so they don't have to go looking for the information. Down below here we have what's called the evaluation packet. If we generate the evaluation packet now, there's not going to be a lot of information on it. Basically, the evaluation packet is going to contain all of the information for the evaluation prior to it being evaluated. So it's going to include all of the criteria, all of the users, the bid that's associated with it. But as you can see right now, we haven't associated any evaluators or any bid criteria, so that wouldn't show up with a lot of information yet. Down below here, we also have a send email link that we'll take a look at after we've created some of these other items. First thing we're going to do is add a couple of evaluators. You can add as many evaluators as you would like to. So first off, we're going to go ahead and just select a couple of them from our list. We'll go ahead and just select a couple people. We'll select this guy here. Now once we have a few people on there, I'm actually going to add myself as well as an evaluator on here. There we go. So now I'm added on here as well. So now that we have our evaluators listed on here, we can go ahead and create our criteria items. Right now you can see it has a 0% in red, meaning that your criteria currently add up to 0%. In order to save your evaluation or actually use it, your criteria have to add up to 100%. So we're going to start off by clicking Add Criteria on the left-hand side, and then this is going to bring up a pop-up window for us where we can specify the title of the criteria. So for example, we could say for this first criteria, let's say that this is for their past references. And then we can say what percentage of the total score is this worth. We'll say that this is worth 35%. On a scale or what scale this is going to be on, we'll say this is a scale of 1 to 10. And then locked is something we'll take a look at in just a moment, but as we finish up this one, we can put in some notes if we would like to, or upload any attachments or documents. From here, we'll go ahead and click Save. Now we can see that our criteria has been updated up to 35%, so let's go ahead and add a couple more criteria. So that first one was past references. We'll go ahead and do this one as price. So we're going to score them off of price, and we'll say that this is worth 50% of the total score. This is going to be on a scale of 1 to 10 as well. Again, we can put in notes or attachments if we'd like to. And then for our last criteria, we're going to go ahead and create a criteria for licenses. Okay, so we'll go ahead and say licenses. And this is just an example, but this could be anything you'd like it to be. For example, if you want to make sure that they're a licensed contractor for your area, or for if they have certain certifications, you create that for this. This is going to be worth 15%, and we'll say it's on a scale of 1 to 10. And then for our locked criteria, we're going to go ahead and use this here. When we select locked, then we're going to go ahead and put in notes and say, for this criteria, check if the supplier or vendor has the appropriate certifications. And you can put whatever notes you'd like to there. Again, it's just for your evaluators. And you'll notice when we selected locked, this opened up a section that says evaluators down here. What we're actually going to do is we're going to save this really quick. This is the easiest way to go about doing this. Once we've saved it, we can see it gives us a little key next to it, and we're going to click Edit again. And as we open this up, we can see right here we have our 3 people that we've selected to evaluate this. And then on the evaluation, in the evaluator section, only 2 of them are showing up. The reason only 2 of them are showing up is because Kimberly Bennett Ruffin and admin user are the only 2 out of these 3 that have permissions to evaluate on a locked criteria. For this criteria, we're going to say that we only want the admin user to evaluate that criteria. So Kimberly, even though she has permissions for locked criteria, since we're not selecting her, she will not be able to evaluate this criteria. So when we go ahead and click Save right here, that's going to save our information on here. And as we scroll down, you can see in the suppliers section, because we associated our proposal up here for construction of facilities building, that's already going to have all of the suppliers that placed an offer on this. In this case, it's only 2, but that already has all of the suppliers that placed an offer right here on the evaluation. So we can go ahead and click Close, and that creates the evaluation. It's still in the held section, so the evaluation hasn't been released yet, which is the next section that we're going to take a look at, is how to release the evaluation and actually perform an evaluation in the system. So for now, we're going to go ahead and open it up for any questions you may have regarding the creation of an RFP eval. And then once we get those questions answered, we'll go ahead and jump into the next section, which is actually performing. Jump right back into our RFP eval process. We just barely finished creating this RFP evaluation. And just as a reminder, we're currently logged into BidSync. We've clicked on the Bids tab and the RFP eval in the submenu, and that's what gets us to this RFP eval section. Once our evaluation has been created in the system, we can go ahead and release it, which means that our evaluators will then be able to see it in the system by clicking Release right here on the left, and then Release Checked Items. From here, we can go ahead and just type in our password and click Release. This marks the evaluation as current, but it's still not able to receive evaluations just yet. We'll go ahead and click on the title of our evaluation right here. And in here, if we scroll down to the bottom, we can review our information, make sure everything looks correct, and at the very bottom, we can go ahead and click Start Evaluation. So if we go ahead and click Start Evaluation, that's going to start the evaluation right here. So it changed from blue to green. That means that it's live. It can now receive evaluations from our evaluators. To show you how that's going to work for the evaluators, we're actually going to come back to the Home tab here. For somebody that has been assigned an evaluation, they'll be able to come in and they'll receive an email letting them know that the evaluation has been started, so they can come in now. They'll come into BidSync. Once they're logged in, they can click on the Bids tab, then RFP Eval. They'll go to the Current Evaluation section, and from here, if they're an evaluator, they'll simply click on the evaluation title, and they can scroll down to the bottom, review the information quickly, scroll down to the bottom, and as an evaluator, they're only going to have the Evaluate and Close buttons. They're not going to have the Close Evaluation or Move to Held, but they're only going to have Evaluate and Close. So because I'm the creator as well as an evaluator on it, I have all four options, but as an evaluator, I'll just come in to click Evaluate. This will open up the evaluation for me. I can go ahead and expand each supplier one by one, so I'll go ahead and click Expand for this first supplier, and I can see the different criteria that are listed here. So for the first one, past references, I can either use the slider right here, or I can just type in my score in this section here. I can upload any notes or attachments I'd like to back up the reason I gave it this score. So most likely you'd want to put in some notes here saying I gave them a 5 because of this reason, and then we can go down to the next section here. For our price, we'll go ahead and say that they had a good price. We'll put it at 8. But we can also put in our notes right here. And then as we scroll down a little bit further, we have our licenses section. If you remember, this is the one that we created with the RFP lock, the criteria lock, which is why we have that key here. So I'm the only evaluator that's going to see this score right here. So we can go ahead and make sure we set the score. We can put in any notes we'd like to, and then we can move on to the next evaluator. Up here at the top, just to make sure that we're evaluating the correct information, we can review our bid by clicking Tabulation. This will open up the tabulation report in a new window for us. We'll give that just a second to load for us, but basically it's going to show us the offers that were submitted by the suppliers. So we have Jerry's Construction and Aluminum Athletic Equipment. Right here we can see the offers that they submitted, and this is what we're scoring based off of their pricing and their documents that they uploaded. You can see you have access to all of that information right here on this page. So you can quickly reference between the scores you're giving them and the notes you're leaving for them and the tabulation report right here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and give our second supplier a score. So their price is a little bit better. We're going to give them a 9 on their price. Their past references will say that they had a 7, and then we'll scroll down a little bit further here. But let's say they didn't have all the appropriate licenses, so we're only going to give them a 4 for that one. And we can explain in the notes section or upload an attachment to back up why we gave them the scores we did. Once an evaluator has posted the scores that they'd like to give, they'll click Finalize Score down here at the bottom. So when they click Finalize Score, this gives them a summary of everything that they've entered in, and they can then type in their password at the bottom and click Confirm. Once they click Confirm, they'll get a message up here that says Data Saved. Once that information is saved, they can go back to the evaluation, or they can go back down here. And now they're finished in this section. So we'll go ahead and just go ahead and back to the evaluation. So now this evaluator is done. So if we scroll down here, in our evaluator section, I am the admin user. We can see over in the status that I am finished with my evaluation. So I've already submitted my scores. Everything's done on my side. So now we're just waiting on the other 2 evaluators to come in and perform the evaluation. For the sake of time, we're not going to log in as each user to perform the evaluations. We're going to go ahead and just assume that they had finished it and assume that this says finished instead of pending. If all of your evaluators have finished their evaluation prior to the end date, you can come down here to the bottom and click Close Evaluation. That's going to close out the ability for them to come in and revise their scores or put in new scores. But if they've all entered in their scores and you'd like to, you can click Close Evaluation right here. This will give you a warning if they have not finished scoring, so saying one or more users have not finished evaluating. But in this case, let's just say that they have finished. We're going to go ahead and close out the evaluation and click Save. This brings us to our results page. So in the results, what we have here at the top is our basic RFP evaluation information. We have any notes or attachments we would have uploaded. Our bid is located here. We can access the bid and the tabulation right there. As we scroll down a little bit further, we have the different reports associated with this RFP evaluation. We're just going to kind of quickly explain each of these. The evaluation packet is going to include just the evaluation information. It's not going to include scores that each supplier was given. It's just going to include which criteria are created for this evaluation. Tabulation report is going to include the scores for the suppliers as well as some of their offer information. The overall results PDF is basically just going to be the page that you see now with the scores for each supplier in a PDF form, and then overall results in Excel is the same document, just in Excel format. Down below here you have your email history. You can go ahead and click Send Email. This is the one that we hadn't really taken a look at earlier. But basically what this allows you to do is send out an email either to your evaluators here, or you can add additional emails down here, and it'll send out this link or this email down below here that you can edit or change the information in the email. Basically, it's just a link to access the evaluation, either to see the scores or just to participate in the evaluation for these evaluators up here. If you'd like to send out an email, you can go ahead and just type in your password right here and click Submit, and it'll send out that email to those users. One thing to keep in mind on these emails, you also have the ability, if we click Send Email one more time, you also have the ability up here at the top to send to suppliers. If you'd like the suppliers to be able to see their scores, you can do that by clicking Send to Suppliers. Otherwise, they won't be able to log into the system to see their information at all. It's just going to be for your eyes only, basically. If we scroll down a little bit further here, you have a couple more reporting options available to you. For each evaluator in your account or on this bid, you'll be able to see or create a report to see exactly what they evaluated on the bid. So if we look at our Detroit admin user, we'll expand this open. You can see the exact scores that they gave for each supplier. That just allows you to, this tool here allows you to generate a report for each of those items. Now that we've gone through, we've completed this evaluation, the scores are all in, we have our points and our totals over here, we can go ahead and click Close down here at the bottom. And now our evaluation is no longer in current evaluations, it's actually in the past evaluations. We can always come back and access it in the past evaluations anytime we need to, either just to see what the scores were or see any additional information we need to. That information is always going to be available here. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. If anybody has questions for the actual processing and the submitting of an evaluation in the system, and then we'll jump into the next section after we get those questions answered. Thank you. Into the next section here, which is the creation of a best and final offer and how to evaluate when to do that or how to actually accomplish that task. In order to create a best and final offer off of one of your existing bids, you're going to log into BidSync, which will take you to this home page here. You'll come and click on the Bids tab in the gray menu bar. From the Bids tab, you'll want to make sure that you're in the To Be Awarded Bids section. This is where your past electronic bids are going to be held. Once you're in this section, you can go ahead and click on the bid you'd like to use. For example, construction of facilities building right here. When we've clicked on this bid, it'll take us to the tabulation page. This is where you can review the offers that have been submitted here. And once you've determined from this page that you'd like to create a best and final offer on this bid, you can go ahead and click on Go to Bid Information. This will take you back to the bid information page where you can see all the information from when the bid was created, any approval information of the bid, Basically, all of the information that we have on your bid will be located in this section. In order to create a best and final offer, in this first box here, down at the bottom, there's a best and final offer section. Next to that section, it has a link that says create. The process for this is really simple. You just click create right there, and this actually just brings you right back into the bid creation process. The only difference is it's going to automatically select several options for you. So for example, you already have your bid type selected, your department, your budgeted amount, and the response model are all selected for you. As you go to the next page, it's actually going to include a lot of information already selected for you on this page too. The only thing you need to do with a best and final offer is change your bid duration, so you'll change your end date right here. So we'll go ahead and choose the 27th of February as our end date now. It's going to keep all the same information for everything else. If you'd like to, you can add another pre-bid conference in here. As we scroll down, if we'd like to, we can change any of this information we would like to, or we can keep it all the same. For our bid number, you're most likely going to want to change this bid number, or at least put some kind of a differentiator in it, whether it's BAFO for best and final offer or BAFO, and then the bid number, or however you'd like to change that. For example, we could go in here and say BAFO -1502-002. That way the suppliers know that they're responding to a best and final offer for the same bid. Right here, we're going to keep the same bid title. We can keep the same bid comments or add additional comments in here as it is a new bid or a best and final offer on our original bid. We'll make sure the rest of the information is still accurate. We may not need the same documents on this bid because we already had the vendors submit that documentation, so we may have additional documents we need them to access. We also have the option here to upload the evaluation that we did for this bid. So if we'd like to, we can go ahead and search for our evaluation report here and upload it if we've already created that report in the system. As we scroll down a little bit further, we'll just make sure the rest of this information is accurate. And then once we get down to the vendors section, this section is where it really changes between the original bid and this newer bid. You can see it's automatically marked as private, and down below here you can see that our two suppliers that placed offers are already added into this bid. Basically, it just makes it so only these two suppliers can access the bid. Nobody else is going to be notified. Nobody else can view the bid. And then once they've placed an offer on it and the bid closes, then you have just offers from them with their final pricing or their best and final offer on the bid. Again, at the bottom you have your bid contact information that you can change if you'd like to. We're going to go ahead and keep it the same and click Save Bid. This creates the bid in the same process as it does for any other bid. So we'll go back to our bid list that's in the bid held section, which we can then ready it for release. We'll go ahead and type in our password here and select Not Grant Funded and Ready Bid. Once that's ready, we can see it says Approval Pending, so it's waiting for the approval of one of our supervisors. If we come in here, we can see who it's waiting for. So it looks like it's waiting for a manager to come in, and then it has to go to the CPO. This would be based off of the budgeted amount for the bid. Based off of that, it has to go to these two groups or these two people before we can actually release it to be live on the website. So we're going to go ahead and pause right there for any questions and answers. Basically, the process, again, for these best and final offers are exactly the same for creating a normal bid. The only difference is you're going to click Best and Final Offer on your bid. That's going to change your bid to a private bid and mark it as Best and Final Offer so that only the suppliers that originally placed an offer can place an offer at this time. The other difference when you come in here and it says Best and Final Offer now, you can click View, and it'll show you that this is a Best and Final Offer for this construction of facilities building. So you can see basically what the status is of this bid and that you have the newer bid right here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pause and open it up for any questions that we may have. Feel free to ask those questions, and then once we get those answered, we'll move into the next section, which would be the actual awarding of our bid. Our last section here, which is the awarding of a bid. Once you're ready to actually make an award decision, you'll log into BidSync here. From your home page, you'll click on Bids, and then over here on the right, you'll click on To Be Awarded Bids. This will show you all of the bids that are waiting to be awarded in the system. Basically, these are bids that have closed already, and once they're closed, and if it's an electronic bid, it's sent to this section here. To access the bid information, you simply click on the title of the bid right here. This will bring you to the tabulation page if the bid has already been opened or decrypted. If it hasn't, you'll simply need to type in your password and click Open Bid, and that'll take you to this page here. From this page, you can see a lot of information right off the bat. Up here at the top, we can access our bid information. If we need just a refresher of what this bid was for or any information, questions that were asked, we can access all of that information from this page here, including any line items or documents. All of that information is held right here. Let's go back to our awarding page here. Next to the bid information, you also have a tabulation report. Tabulation report can be extremely useful, especially if you have multiple line items. In this case, we just have one line item, just our overall price right here. But you can see that this just organizes your offer, or all of the offers, into a much easier to read page where you can see each supplier and the offers that they've submitted. This page, again, can be really useful if you have a lot of line items, making it simple to just organize either by line item or by supplier so that you can see all of that information easily broken down. From this page, you can actually email this tabulation to anybody you would like to. You can generate a PDF or print it off as well. So we'll go ahead and close this page and go back to our tabulation. Next, you have the award report right here. The award report so far is going to be listed as $0 because we haven't made any award decision yet. You can see it says not awarded. We're going to take another look at the award decision or the award report after we've gone through and made an award decision. Down below here in the awarding of the bid, we have several different things we can see here. First off, we have the supplier's name next to their name. You have a D, meaning that they accepted all of the documents associated with this bid. Just to the right of there, you can see their unit price and their total price. In this case, they're the same because it's a quantity of one. We just wanted an overall price for the project. And then to the right of there, you can see the documents that they filled out or any attachments they filled out. So for example, in the documents, if we just click on this attachment link, this little paperclip icon, this will bring up a pop-up window, the drop-down menu where we can choose the document that they filled out. So for example, individual acknowledgement, if we choose this one here, it's going to go ahead and pull up this document that we had them fill out. So for example, we can see the information they filled in here as well as their name, information, when their commission expired, anything like that. All of that information is kept right here. We can see any of the documents that they filled out for us. If we scroll down on this page, we can see the answers that they gave us and the questions and answers, as well as any information that they filled in down here at the bottom. We can see that information for both suppliers. An easier way to see all of that information all at once is if we come back into our View Bids section right here. In the To Be Awarded section, there's a packet column with a couple of icons. This little envelope icon right here, if we click on this icon, what it's going to do is actually gather up all of the packet information, or basically all of the information that was submitted by all the suppliers. So it'll include any documents that they filled out, their pricing that they submitted on the bid, as well as any attachments or notes that they added to the bid. And the nice thing about this is you can choose which supplier's information you'd like to include in the packet, or if you want everybody's information in there, you can basically just customize this report to choose what information you want available there, and then just click Generate, and that'll generate a really easy to use PDF packet that's sent to your email that you can just send out to whoever you need to or review the information that you need to there. So we'll go back into our bid here. From here, again, we can see our suppliers that submitted the bid as well as the pricing that they submitted. Any notes that we would like to leave on the supplier's account, we can do so by clicking My Notes right here. We have the ability to type in a note or upload an attachment if we would like to. And then if we find that a supplier needs to be rejected for whatever reason, we can go ahead and reject a supplier by clicking on the little trash can right here. That moves the supplier into another section, basically just specifying that that supplier has been rejected. If you accidentally do that, it's not a problem. You can just simply click Unreject right here. Now that we've reviewed some of the information here, if we'd like to review more of their company information, we can go ahead and click on the name of the supplier, and this will open up that supplier's profile in the BidSync system, giving you a much better view of who that supplier is, past jobs that they may have worked on. We'll give that just a second for that to load. Once it gets loaded, we'll be able to see all of the information for this supplier. Looks like it's giving us an error page. Let me pull that up in a different screen. 1 second. This basically gives us an insight into all of the information that they've provided on their account. So we can see a little bit more contact information as well as any accounts receivable, insurance information they may have provided, information about their business profile. Not all suppliers are going to have a lot of information in here. So as you can see right here, this supplier has not filled out a lot of this information. Some of it they have and some of it they haven't. But on a lot of suppliers, you'll be able to click on their profile and instantly access all of this information here, as well as insurance documentation or any qualifications they may have. So that just gives you a better insight into the supplier account, just to see who it is that you're planning on doing business with, to make sure that it's a reputable company and somebody that you want to do business with. From here, once we've decided who we're going to make our award to, we can go ahead and select that supplier right here. A lot of times, our customers have a requirement that they have to send out a pre-award notification before they can actually make an award decision. So now that we've selected a supplier, before we finalize this award, we can do a pre-award notification down here at the bottom. You can see you have an option to upload an attachment. The attachment is optional. You don't have to upload an attachment here, but if you'd like to, you can upload any kind of a letter or additional tabulation information. But otherwise, you can go ahead and just click the Send Pre-Award Notification up here at the top. What this is going to do is it's going to send a link out to the suppliers to let them know that the tabulation information is now available. So you can see it was last sent February 16th at 10:39 a.m. Eastern Time. Basically, it's sending out a link to all of the suppliers that participated in the bid that the tabulation information is available. This gives them access to basically the same tabulation report we saw here, unless your bid visibility rules determine that the vendors can't see that information. If you're curious about what the vendors can see on your bid, you can access that by going to the bid information page right here. And on this same page where it says View Rules, you can click Change, and this will show you what the vendors have access to. For the City of Detroit bids, your bids are almost always going to have these options selected right here, which means that the vendors will be able to see who placed an offer, but they will not be able to see the pricing that other suppliers have placed on their bids. So we're going to go ahead and keep it like that. We'll go ahead and close it, meaning that when we sent out that link for the tabulation, they'll be able to click on that link and see who placed an offer, but not necessarily, they won't be able to see what the pricing was of their competitors. So we'll go ahead and go back into our tabulation view. Now that we've selected a winner, we jump back in here really quick. Now that we've selected Jerry's Construction as a winner, we can close this page here. And then over here on the right, you can see we have a new option available to us. This other bid here says reject because we haven't selected any users or any awards on that particular bid. But our bid that we just looked at now says award on it. So if we'd like to finalize our award, we can go ahead and click on award right here. This will take us into an awarding page where we can see who we're going to be awarding this bid to. We're going to award it to Jerry's Construction for this much money. We can see any of their information, such as the attachments or documents, any notes that we left on the account. Down below here you can see the offer totals, so you can see how much is going to be awarded total for this bid, $875,000. And then below here you have some options as far as the bid notification goes, or the award notification goes for the suppliers. You can choose to notify all of the bidders. So Jerry's Construction will receive a notice saying congratulations that you were awarded at least part of this bid. The other supplier would just receive a notification letting them know that the bid was awarded, but that it was not awarded to them. You can choose to send out that notification to all suppliers, only notify the winning bidders, or not send the notification at all. Or you can choose to notify all the bidders or any of these other options and then upload an attachment to accompany that email. So it's not going to replace the email, but it's going to upload an attachment that allows them to access basically within a letter of award that you'd like to update to them. Down here at the bottom, when you're ready, you'll go ahead and just type in your password, and you can click Award Bids. This will send the award process through the system, and once that award has gone through the system, the suppliers would then receive their notification letting them know either they were awarded the bid or they were not awarded the bid. So we'll give that just a second for that to upload in the system. Once that updates in the system, it'll take you back to the To Be Awarded section. You can see our bid is no longer here in the To Be Awarded section. We can always access our bid from the History section up here at the top. If we click History, that'll open up our History section, and we can search by the bid number or the bid title in order to pull up our search results right here. In this case, it's not coming up because we have the wrong department, so let's go ahead and select just all departments. And now we have our bid, the construction facilities, and we'd be able to see the tabulation or the award information simply by clicking on it here. And that takes us through the awarding process on BidSync. Basically, it takes you through the process of creating the bid, evaluating that bid once it's closed, creating a best and final offer on that bid, and then from there it goes through the awarding process. So that's the entire process beginning to end as far as handling a bid in the system. We're going to go ahead and pause now for any questions or answers. If you have any questions, please direct those to the PCG group, and then if they need to, they can get back to us here at BidSync to get any clarification on any of those questions. Thank you very much for attending today, and I hope that this will help you in your testing to make sure that you get all the answers, the questions answered that you need to. Thank you.